Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mask of the Rose, Failbetter's latest installment in the Fallen London series of games. I am quite excited for this, but it is more of a visual novel than a traditional sunless sea, sunless skies experience, so it's going to be kind of new for me. But I am playing this on a pre-release version of the game, so if there is any weirdness, that's probably why. We are pretty close to the launch though, so hopefully there's nothing that should be too problematic. Let's jump on in. In February 1862, with no warning at all, London fell through the surface of the earth. This was meant to be a year of progress and industry. The Great Exposition, trams, a new sewer system. Instead, we find ourselves dwelling in a cave. It's October now. The fires have been put out, the bodies have been buried. But the future remains unimaginable, the time before impossibly distant. Here, where we get to design our character, but let me just slow down the text speed if I can, hang on. So we can play as a dock worker's child. My father worked the docks, unloading ships. My uncle was a sailor. We were on the right side of the law, but the same couldn't always be said for our friends. The docks are allied with the working class and with criminals. A child of the gentry. My family had an estate on the surface. My father was a magistrate. All that is unreachable now, of course. I had the bad fortune to be in London during the fall, and now there is no going back, but I do have a few connections here. The landed gentry hobnob in high society, and with the constabulary. A tailor. My family kept a tailoring shop with aspirations. We dressed our customers better than we dressed ourselves. Shopkeepers have contacts with society, but their own origins are more humble. They may also have some contacts among the artistically inclined. This is locked. A housebreaker's child. My father was a housebreaker. His father was a highwayman. We came down in the world, no longer doing our crimes on horseback. And then my father was arrested. You have to complete the game in order to unlock this background. What else is there? An undertaker. My family were undertakers. We knew everything there was to know about procuring hearses, hiring mourners, and dressing a body. An arcane academic. I studied esoteric writings, the hierarchies of spirits, the language of angels, the practical powers of creation. Wow, some of these are really interesting. Okay, so most of those we can't play right now. So it's a choice between a dock worker, a child of the gentry, or a tailor. Now, because I'm me, I think we're going to go with the child of the gentry. Down here, your name is whatever you say it is. Often, there's no one left to remember who you used to be. Some people hold tight to the names they carried before. Some reinvent themselves completely. Well, I can be my lord. My lord or sir. What am I feeling? Citizen, comrade, captain, lieutenant, doctor, professor, officer, secretary, brother, sister, reverend, intendant, monsieur, madame, mademoiselle, miss, madame. Alright, let's go with my lord. Starting with, the best way. And it'll be me, which is rare. Usually I play my Fallen London character here, but because this is set so far in front, I don't know, I feel like I should play through with someone else. That suits me. That's me. Aneurin to my friends. My lord to strangers. That pretty much covers it. That's how I was addressed even before London fell. I'm a different person down here than I was above. Or down here, I'm finally able to use the name that always fit me. Let's just go with, that's how I was addressed, even before London fell. Choose a cameo that best represents you. I look like none of these people. I do like this though. This person has a fabulous a fabulous colouring going on there. Let's go with that. In the Neath, a true ally means everything. When I find people to be close to, I am open to. This is where this gets a bit strange. This is a game set around Valentine's Day, or Mask of the Rose, it's kind of the whole thing. But you can actually choose to play this with no romance whatsoever, and just friends and friendships, which I find fantastic as someone who tends to just be annoyed by video game romance. But for the sake of the series, maybe I should go with... friendship but no romantic emotions or physical intimacy. Friendship and physical intimacy, but no romantic emotions. Friendship and romantic emotions, but no physical intimacy. Let's go with no physical intimacy, because I don't want my videos getting flagged for something. Let's go with romantic emotions. See where it goes. I'll be looking for someone to reciprocate my romantic devotion for a short while or for a lifetime. Friendships and matchmaking are possible too, but I'm not looking for physical intimacy. Okay. A chaste romance. When you put it like that, it sounds so weird. Alright, well, I'm happy with this. I'll turn off autoplay. Right now, I'm meant to be helping with the census. Finding out who still lives in my neighborhood. For the sake of, if you're playing this on your own, you have autoplay, which will just keep scrolling the text if you want to just keep reading it. You can fast forward if you want to fast forward. And that's about it. You can adjust the text speed and things in the options menu to suit your personal preferences. Personally, because I'm reading it out loud, I'll control when it goes forward. The first census results are due tomorrow. If I turn them in, I get paid. The first money to come my way in nearly 2 months. If I don't, I'm going to disappoint Grizz badly. She knew I was in trouble, so she went out of her way to find me work with her own employers. She even gave me a badge to show my affiliation. The badge of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. The front of the badge almost looks like a constable's badge with a lion and a unicorn blazoned on it. The back of the badge has some kind of symbol I don't recognize. It's hot to the touch. The correspondence, mayhaps? I keep it with the clothes I have from before the fall, and a few odd items I have found more recently. Let's change my outfit. So unlike Sunless Skies and Sunless Seas, where you're in a vessel and exploring the new universes or the Neath in Sunless Seas, here you're exploring London, but the most important thing is your outfit. What you wear dictates what people see and how they treat you. So we have a lapel button here. We have the badge of Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. We also have a fake but vibrant corsage. The most obvious thing about this flower is that it is extremely fake. Perfect for going out on the town, boasting and gallivanting. So wearing this and wearing this would give me different options in a conversation with an NPC. For now, I think I'm going to wear the badge of Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. We can change it whenever we feel. We also have torso. Should we wear the elegant cloak? Cloaks need to make a comeback. Warm, handsome, hard-wearing, and made to fit. Inspires confidence and an inclination to protect the weak. That'll do. Ah, I thought you were up here. She glances at the badge I'm wearing. I suppose I should be glad you're thinking about the census, even if you didn't get around to leaving the house. I react to that the way I react to many things these days. I can either turn it into a joke, I dare to name the frightening things out there, or I lie. Since this is me, I'm going to turn it into a joke. I thought I'd wait for a change in the weather. A lovely snow, perhaps? There's no sunshine down here. There are no yellow pea soup fogs. There's no rain, except occasionally a fine mist. Londoners lost half our topics of conversation when we fell. Come tomorrow evening, we need to have at least a few census forms filled out. Or I'm going to be the one explaining to Mr. Pages. And if that happens, I'm not going to help you with your employment prospects again. Grizz works for the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. It seems to agree with her. She wears trousers to work and comes home at all hours. It's very important to her being taken seriously by these employers. The next thing I do is characteristic 2. I can compliment her, or I can reassert control, be open and build trust, or rely on dark humour. Let's be open and build trust. I am most dreadfully sorry. To be frank, I didn't like the look of the city today. Too many dark alleys. On my oath of honour, I will see we have something to turn in. You still have some time tomorrow. She gives me a hard look, as though she could stuff some integrity into a person just by glaring hard enough. What do you think of the questions? They're written in the most peculiar, spiked handwriting, and there are punctures in the paper in random spots. So I can demonstrate that I've already read them, I can tease her as though I thought that's her handwriting, or I can jokingly defend my reading ability. Let's do that! Jokingly defend my reading ability. Are you saying you don't think I can read? This is not the usual writing. Here, try the questions on me. Say you've just knocked on the door, and I have come to answer it. Yes, what do you want? So, I can introduce myself as an agent of the ministry, showing my badge, or I can read out the first question. Let's introduce myself as an agent of the ministry and show my badge. I hope I find you well this evening. On behalf of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting, I have a few questions. Oh, how lovely. Well, that doesn't seem very realistic. I am so grateful these ministries are looking after us. I can straightforwardly accept her performance. I can sarcastically accept her performance. I can flirtatiously riff on how excellent the ministry is. Or I can read out the first question. Let's sarcastically accept. What a naturalistic performance. Have you considered a career on the stage? If I ever had considered such a thing, my mother would have beaten the consideration right out of me again. Not at all the done thing in our circles. Well, go on. What's the first question? Let's read out the first question. How many people live in this establishmentation? Is that a word? Establishmentation? My superiors are enthusiastic embellishers of the language. If you like, you can translate into questions that are more likely to be understood. Right. How many people live in this establishment? 4. The landlady, Mrs. Horatia Chapman, a young man named Archibald Reed, myself, and a 4th character, very disreputable. suggest that she might not be the picture of respectability herself, or joke that she's not counting the vermin. Go with that one. You have omitted the basement, which houses more rats than Noah's Ark. More than 2, you mean? At the end of its voyage, I should have said. Sometimes I'm in the mood to keep chatting, and sometimes I want to get to the point. Let's keep chatting. Linger over the census in order to keep chatting with Grizz. Is anyone in this establishment enamorificated or impassionated? What does this even mean? They're asking if anyone here is in love. Just ask that. Is anyone here in love? No. Ask whether she's sure about me, ask whether she's sure about herself, or tease her. Let's say, is she sure about me? What? You know the hidden secrets of my heart? Very well, write down whatever romantic confessions you like. I'll look in the other direction. Preserve your privacy. At this moment, a second visitor walks in. Archie is a medical student. He hadn't finished his training before the fall, but he has plenty of work now. Right after the fall, it was broken bones and cuts. Lately, there are fewer wounds and more diseases. Hi, I wondered where you were. We can greet him flirtatiously, or we can ask what he needs. Let's ask what he needs. What are you looking for? There's something that needs explaining. Out I went this morning to visit a patient, and what do I find pasted up on the wall? He holds up a broadsheet. There's a new decree from the Ministry of Cartography and Chirography that all maps and atlases are to be surrendered and put on the fire. It's your folk making these rules, Grizz. We can promise Grizz that we can be trusted with whatever she knows. We can suggest Archie leave the topic alone, or we can stay well out of this. Let's promise Grizz that we can be trusted. You can tell us. We're trustworthy. I'm even working for the Ministry. You have yet to actually do anything for the Ministry. I have the badge, and I've been trained. Will you be asking your Mr. Pages about these maps? The Ministry of Chirography and Cartography is new. I don't think that existed yesterday. This kind of shows just how crazy Fallen London is. These ministries just pop up. Remark that ministries usually take longer to create, or let her draw her own conclusions. Let's remark that they usually take longer to create. I would expect a whole ministry to take longer to create. I may not have adequately conveyed to Mr. Pages the leisurely pace of government action, or the proper scope, come to that. They once suggested a ministry of calling cards and another for reflective surfaces. Very well, I'll see what I can find out about this, but it might take some time. Aneurin, please do collect at least a few census forms by tomorrow, from whatever Londoners you are able to find. At the end of the day, I'll find you and we can take them to Mr. Pages together. Deliver a filled census form to Pages. You know what I miss the most? Back home, my sister's hair turned colour when it rained, blonde to a wet, plastered brown. Like a mad hen she looked. I can either turn the subject to the census, I can check on how he's feeling, or I can say farewell. Let's check on how he's feeling. How are you feeling? Is the cave oppressing you too much? Worse than Grizz. I will not lie. Seems there's no road out of here. Food from the masters is a wee reprieve, but when you think of all else that might kill us below, scurvy and the like. A great hulking rock fell on a house in Suffolk, did the roof in and near to killed the whole household. But I'd best be quiet. Like to give you nightmares too, and I'm fair out of laudanum to help with the sleep. Let's turn the subject to the census. Grizz has me gathering census pages for the ministry. Aye, Grizz told me it was some such thing. We can either simply ask about his romantic commitments, or we can respond with protective kindness, which I feel is something to do with our top, judging by this item here, so our cape, or we can respond condescendingly. Let's respond with protective kindness. There's nothing for you to worry about. Are you in love with anyone? Or promised to anyone, perhaps, from before the fall? Down here, there's no one. What about before the day of judgment? There was a lass back home. And what did me mother do but promise me to her? Let's encourage him to go on. That sounds like a tale. What happened? It's not so uncommon, I think. Me mother was friends with this lass's parents. They were getting on in years, and her not married. And of course the whole village knew her business. So me mother said she'd fix it up between us next time I were home, but I've not been back since. Seemed to me I ought to wait till I was finished with me studies. Might have a better look to it. The question has stirred recollections he has not considered for a time. And we got a census page. Is it bad to say I've not much thought of her since? She has very even teeth. My mother said overlapping teeth in a woman mean defiance, and gaps mean a light skirt. God damn it. Let's keep my opinions to myself. I see. Don't look so stiff. I can either flirt with him, I can talk about his recollections and past, and draw this conversation to an end. Let's talk to him about his recollections and past. The conversation turns to medicine, and Archie's hopes for it. In childhood, it seems, he was fascinated with Frankenstein, and with the stories of the resurrection men in Edinburgh, pulling bodies out of graves. These elements mingled into curious fantasies of the scientific inventions that he would one day achieve. Adulthood and a bit of experience in the world may have tempted his expectations. Adulthood and a bit of experience in the world may have tempered his expectations, but he still turns excitable at possibilities outside our current imaginings. It would be, he says, very useful in our present circumstance if people could be taught to digest rocks, for instance, or to derive more nutrition from moisture in the air. Well, you're in fallen London, so there's a good chance that at some point this is going to come up. If I'd have met the like of you in Scotland, I might never have come to London. We can encourage Archie, we can discourage this line overtly, we can decide to romance Archie just like that. You just decide on the spot. I have only platonic intentions towards Archie. Let's go with that one. The thought hits me, but I don't show it. Yes, we are just friends. We can go straight to sleep, or I can review the day in my journal. What does my journal tell me? So this is where it keeps track of our acquaintances, the people we have met, and the information upon them, and the history we have with them. So, this could be quite useful. It's like we haven't actually met Harjit yet, but in Day 0, mid-apocalypse, I first remember Harjit from the night of the fall, when he was patrolling the neighbourhood. This is... I still owe her back rent. Good lord, we owe our landlady money, huh? I moved into Horatia's. She gave me a good room and a stern speech about conduct in her house. We lived through the night of the fall in Horatia's basement. She's looked after all her lodgers since. Grizz, 15 days before the fall, she moved into Chapman's, a short while before the fall. She wore gowns back then. Grizz came to ask me of progress of the census. Yes, no. About that. Hey, look, it's me. 124 days before the fall, moved into Chapman, so I've been here for a long time. Day 92, false summer, swore never to consume another bite of mushroom. Day 94, false summer, broke antifungal fast because too hungry. Good lord. Day 220, confessions, asked Grizz to help me find work. Now these are the times of year, confessions, false summer. I'm sure it'll come up in the actual game itself. Yeah, we are 259 days since the fall of London. We are really early in the fall of London, which is why this game intrigues me from a lore perspective. But let's go to sleep. Six days remain in the season of confessions. The newspapers aren't what they used to be, but someone is still printing broadsheets these days. The headlines today read: Her Majesty's Palace shuttered. Royal family remains unreachable. Oh, we can recall the past, relive the fall of London. I'm always reliving London's last night on the surface. I try to put it out of my head, but it's still there. The dimming of the sun at 3 in the afternoon. The sky turning the colour of rust. The horrible bang and the cloud of dust from the direction of Westminster. The tolling of the bells. The horseman who rode down the street, livered in the garb of the palace, shouting, "In Her Majesty's name, go indoors." And then the sky was full of bats. More bats than I thought could exist in the world. Wheeling, shrieking, defecating. People went indoors then. If they'd ignored the criers, those that had no house crowded into the churches and under the bridges. Even now, I don't understand. We have 3 options. Why the Parliament collapsed? How Her Majesty knew to send criers? Well, we kind of know that because of the agreement that she made with the Masters. But I guess our character doesn't know this. That so many bats could exist in the world. Let's go with why Parliament collapsed. The building that was Parliament is now drowned in the Thames. No one alive can give a good account of it. I reckon it's a tornado. I've heard of something similar in the Welsh Hills back in 1760. Nay, light in the sky, and a noise like a thunderclap. That's no tornado, love. It's a plague of Egypt. I can let them talk, or I intervened before they annoyed one another, or I sent a pleading look at Grizz. Let's send a pleading look at Grizz. Arguments don't happen in front of Grizz unless she chooses to let them. The Great Stink seemed like a supernatural visitation at the time, and there are perfectly scientific explanations for that. So it was, too. Problems with the pipes. My eye. My mother always said it was a judgment on London. Then, the ground shook again. I believe we can blame Mr. Bazalaget's excavations digging about under London, causing a seismic disturbance. And what did he find down there but a cave of 3 million bats? Is that what you reckon? There are stranger things beneath London. That was the beginning of it, but we were down there for hours and hours. The sky darkened, and it didn't return to normal. Once, around midnight, Grizz went upstairs and opened the door to the street, but she came right back down again. She said the cobbles were galloping about. It wasn't safe to walk outside. After that first bit, the memories collide and get confused. I have trouble keeping track of which came first and which came later, and whether I'm imagining something. I've spent a lot of days like this, thinking back, trying to piece together the bits of the puzzle. As if I could realize something that would make sense of it all. Okay, and before we set off for the first day, I think that is a good introduction to the game. I'm going to end the first episode here. Obviously, we will be playing through the whole game here, so please drop a subscription if you haven't already liked the video. Drop a comment below. It means the world to me, especially on the very first episode of a series, because that's the one that everyone clicks on. So thank you all very much for being here. Thank you again to the members of the channel. It really does help keep the channel going. And as always, I'll see you next time.